Sure, he's
Started, and we should be getting started here. All right, let's get started. Are we all ready?
Yep.
Call the Shakopee City Council meeting for Tuesday, July 15th, 2025 to order. If the clerk could please take the roll.
Councilmember Delaney?
Here.
Councilmember Whiting? Here. Councilmember Contreras? Here. Councilmember Lara?
Here.
Mayor Lehman?
Here. Item number 3, if you want to join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 4, approval of the agenda. Any changes to the agenda?
Not from staff, sir.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Seconded by Councilor Contreras. Discussion on the motion? Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 5, consent agenda. I'll just point out that some of this says 5A, 5B. The packet says 6A, 6B, but they're all the same. So, any changes to the consent?
From staff, sir.
Council? Wishes of council. Councilor Contreras?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion and second. Mr. Reynolds, will you read the consent, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. These are the consent agenda items for Tuesday, July 15th of 2025. 5A authorizes a final acceptance and payment for the West End Lift Station and Force Main project. 5B is a resignation of the fire chief. 5C authorizes disposal of surplus forfeited property. 5D approves the wetland replacement plan for the Richland Court development improvements. 5E declares one vehicle as surplus property and authorizes its proper disposal. 5F is a donation of fire safety materials. 5G is an audit engagement letter with ABDO for the years ending December 31st of 2025 and 2026. 5H authorizes Public Works to exceed their staffing levels. 5I authorizes final acceptance and payment for the CSAH 78 pedestrian underpass improvements at Zumbro Avenue. 5J approves a special event permit and a temporary liquor license for the Shakopee Chamber of Commerce. 5K approves the City Council meeting minutes for June 17th of 2025. 5L is a Centerpoint Energy's Community Safety Grant Award. 5M is a donation of fitness equipment. 5N approves an updated Rhythm on the Rails special event permit and temporary liquor license for the Shakopee Chamber. And 5O is Resolution R 2025-079, changing the City Council regular meeting dates on August 5th and November 5th.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. We do have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 6, public comment. If you are here for an item that is not on the council agenda and would like to address the city council, now would be the time to do that. If you please step up to the microphone if you're here for an item not on our agenda. Seeing none. Item 7, business removed from the consent. There was none. General business 8A, ordinance amending city code section 111.02 related to fence construction. Mr. Kursky, when you're ready, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So we're bringing back this text amendment of City Code Section 111-.02. So the city staff is requesting Section 111.02 be repealed and replaced to accommodate the multiple changes. This item was originally heard by the City Council on May 6th. Since that meeting, the recommended changes were incorporated and reviewed by the city attorney. So the proposed ordinance clarifies the application requirements, including written notarized permission from an adjacent property owner or owners if a fence is proposed to be constructed on the property line or physically connecting, removes the requirement for a permit to repair a fence, creates the definition for opaque, clarifies prohibited materials, and then requires chain link fences to have a top rail. Also clarifies the temporary plastic snow fence up to 4 feet in height can be placed out from October 1st to April 1st. Explains maximum height of 4 feet for fences in the structure setback in the shoreline overlay district, and no fence allowed below the 100-year high water level of a lake, stream, river, wetland buffer, or stormwater basin without permission from the city engineer or his designee. Reduces the appeal period from 30 to 15 days, removes language requiring review by the city's HPAC. Changes are proposed to provide clear direction on construction and placement requirements, and the ordinance would be effect upon approval and publication. And staff's recommending adopting the ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Kursky. Questions of staff? Mr. Lara?
Mr. Kursky, where is this going to be published?
I believe, I'll defer to the clerk, but I believe it's our new publishing.
It'll be the New Prague Times.
Yep.
Are we still allowed to put it on our website and such?
Yes, so it gets put on the website 10 days prior, and then upon approval, it goes to the New Prague Times for publishing.
Thank you.
Our ordinance book.
Right.
Other questions of staff? Wishes of council? Mr. Whiting?
No, it looks like we've addressed, and I'm trying to find it exactly, the verbiage on the property line that I was looking at. I'm not sure which bullet.
Do you have the version that was on the table tonight? The red line
Yeah,
version?
that's better. I'll find it that way.
I'll help you. Let's.
But I know we going through it. I did get that online and looked at it. It was a lot easier than the one in the packet. But
Item 2 on the red line version.
okay, and I guess the only question is that I ran into this. I was putting my own fence, and I didn't have any satellite communications to make sure that I was right up to that property line because I was going to utilize that space. But that property line is also a 1-inch post. Now, unless the city is going to be giving back that 1-inch strip around everybody's property and giving back the taxes on it, I'm suggesting that that's kind of our chalking the field for our staff, saying, you got an inch. If it's within that inch, because those pipes in the old town are an inch wide. What is the property line? But I was that close.
Well, but even, I would say even with the property line, almost all property lines, including my own, mine is a 5 and 5. There's 5 on this side of the property line and 5 on a neighbor's side of the property line. That is the easement, drainage easement in my case.
But this fence line, you can go right up to the property line.
Right.
So I'm just chalking the field for staff, is that, where is that line? Is it right touching it, or is it over it? Is it in the middle of that 1-inch line? Just wanted to put that comment out there before I...
Can we treat it like a stop sign? Recommended inconvenience?
Which side of that 1 inch?
Just a recommended inconvenience.
So I'll make a motion to, before we move on to too much discussion, make a motion to adopt ordinance 02025 TAC 010, amending Title 11 of the City Code, repealing and replacing Section 111.02 related to fence construction and placement regulations, appeal, period, and publication by summary.
Second.
Is there a second to the motion? Second. Mr. Delaney seconds the motion. Discussion on the motion. Discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, I gotta find my other one here. This is a little bit mixed up tonight. Okay. Item 8B, ordinance amending City Code Section 130.04 related to livestock and poultry. Mr. Kursky.
Mayor and Council, so this is amendment to Title 13, Chapter 130, Section 130.04, Other Animals. So staff was asked to review the regulations related to animals, specifically livestock and poultry, regarding the 2 types and quantities allowed to be kept in residential zoning districts and also seasonal sales stands. The proposed ordinance creates a new definition of livestock, clarifies up to 5 hen chickens are allowed in SRR, PRD, R1A, R1B, R1C, and R2 zoning districts. And there's a maximum coop size and maximum run size. Modifies the hen chicken definition to poultry to allow the following: ducks, geese, guinea fowl, quail, and pheasants, in addition to hen chickens in the RR zoning district. and restricts the number of poultry and coop run structures in RR based on lot size. So you can see here, if you're at 0.1 to 0.99, you can have a maximum of 5. If you have an acre or more, you can have 12. Clarifies that seasonal sales stands for the sale of honey or related bee products shall comply with section 151.007, and they're allowed in seasonal sales stands. Planning Commission received the ordinance as an informational item at their June 5th meeting. Public hearing is not required because the ordinance is not part of the zoning.
Thank you, Mr. Kursky. For clarification and transparency, we had on the table the ordinance, and this is item 8B. In your packet is the original under 11B. Okay. Any questions of staff? Questions for staff? Mr. Lara?
To adopt ordinance 02025-016, amending title, Title 8 of the City Code, section
13. Title
13. Don't know my room with numerals. 130.04 to modify the definition of hens, chickens to poultry, define livestock, clarify the number of poultry allowed in residential zoning districts.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Lara, seconded by Councilor Contreras. Mr. Whiting?
There was someone, and I believe that was from our community, that had some issues with our ordinance. Did they have a chance to review it and make all their corrections? Were they all heard?
So, Mayor and Council, that individual on the Planning Commission, so it was heard, and some comments. We can't make everybody happy. If I put this in perspective today, so we're about 20,000 acres or 31.1 square miles. There's 4.87 acres of rural residential, 4.87 square miles of rural residential in the city, about half of which are in the SMSC's hands, but that's still a lot of mileage. So you have to look at, we have a lot of rural residential, which is large homes on big lots that don't really care about some of this, and then we do have some other large lots where they do agriculture, so we're trying to reach a happy medium here.
I understand that's.
I think the issue was seasonal sales.
And Mayor and Council, that's addressed in the next
one.
ordinance.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions of staff on this topic?
Nope, we're good.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 8C, ordinance amending City Code Section 151.002 and 151.007K related to agricultural uses and seasonal sales stands. Mr. Kursky?
Mayor and Council, as you mentioned, this is an ordinance regarding definitions in the table and agricultural uses in the rural residential zoning district and seasonal sales stands. So staff was asked to review the regulations surrounding agricultural uses and seasonal sales stands in the rural residential RR zoning district. Existing ordinance language allows agricultural uses and seasonal sales stands as a permitted use in the agricultural preservation district only. Seasonal sales stands, when in the principal use of property is agricultural, is allowed with the CUP in the rural residential zoning district. Seasonal stands are allowed in most of the commercial zoning districts. So this creates new definitions for agricultural use for crops, agricultural use for livestock, and agricultural use for livestock and poultry. So this will be the new table. So it will be an accessory use in rural residential, sewered rural residential, and the other agricultural uses are allowed in all of the residential districts except for R3, R4, and PO.
Provided they have a primary structure on the property.
Mayor, that's correct. And that's true with all these. You have to have a primary structure if you're running seasonal sales in those zones. And then in, we're allowing, they're permitted already in agricultural, and so we're going to allow them as an accessory use, seasonal sales stands in the rural residential. And seasonal sales stands when the principal use of the property is agricultural is allowed in ag and also in rural residential. Let's see what else. It's also amends table 151.007K, table of uses for commercial and industrial districts to clarify between farm produced and non-farm produced items. So Seasonal sales, we have in most of our commercial districts now, you'll see them. The hardware store that used to be over behind City Hall had seasonal sales. Cub has seasonal sales. So we've now clarified that, and it's an accessory use in all the commercial districts.
We can still buy our sweet corn and stuff in the
Yes.
parking lots, what they're selling. Awesome. Okay.
So Planning Commission held a public hearing on June 5th, recommended approval with suggestion to consider adding language to clarify that vegetables and nursery plants are allowed and to consider a different naming convention for the originally proposed agriculture use, no livestock, which staff has done.
Okay. Questions for staff? Questions? Wishes of council? Councilor Contreras?
Motion to adopt ordinance O-2025-017, amending City Code Section 151.002 and 151.007K.
Second.
Any seconds to motion? Discussion on the motion. Mr. Whiting?
Nope, no discussion today.
Going to ask if this addresses the original concerns of the resident?
I think
that was
I
proposed?
think it did
hope so.
specifically.
It does?
So it was about the sales of the honey, which
Okay.
we support.
All right. Anything else? Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item 8D, also known as 11D. Presentation, County Highway 17 Expansion Project presentation by Scott County. Mr. Jordan.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. This is a follow-up to the presentation that I provided to this council at the end of 2024 on the Scott County Highway 17 expansion project. Since that last presentation, Scott County and the city of Shakopee and Prior Lake have worked really closely together to continue to refine the design of the corridor. In addition, there was a public open house that was held earlier this spring, meeting with area residents. I know a lot of members from the council attended that open house as well. So tonight, Adam Jessen, Scott County Assistant Highway Engineer, will be here to present the project, give you a little bit more details and where we're at today.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you for having me here. My name is Adam Jessen. I'm the Assistant County Engineer for Scott County. Our County Engineer, Tony Winnicky, unfortunately is laid up on the East Coast with the storms going on over there. He was out there for a wedding and is hopefully en route right now back here to Minnesota. So I'm here, and we also have Nate Thomas, our project manager, as well as Justin Siebens, who's our consultant traffic engineer, here to help. So I'll jump into it. Our agenda here for what I'll go through, talk a little bit about the background information on Scott County's transportation network, how Highway 17 fits within that, and as well as kind of our principal arterial system specifically within our transportation network. Building off of that, there was a corridor study done on 17 and 13 as it continues to the south. Back in 2009, so I'll talk a little bit about that corridor study and how it laid the groundwork for this project. And then I will get into the project itself that we're proposing, including the discussion at the open house and the refinements that have made to the layout as a result of that. And then I will finish up talking about the schedule for the project as well as the cost-sharing elements.
Would you prefer that we hold our comments until you're done, or can we ask comments as you go?
I'm okay either way.
Okay.
I think I do have quite a few slides, so there's a good chance that I may cover it in the presentation, but I'll
Problem is,
certainly
it's
take
always
them.
hard to go back for us because we get multiple questions that might stack up. So
You're
let's just
absolutely right,
ask as we go, council, okay?
Yep, that works for me. Okay, so starting out, this is Scott County's functional classification map from our 2040 comprehensive plan. The project area is circled in purple there, kind of in the center of the northern part of the county. And the red lines in particular, I'll draw your attention to, are the principal arterials at the time of the study. Since that time, the western segment of 42 has been designated as a principal arterial, as well as Highway 17 from 42 to the north up to 169. and 21 has been removed as a principal arterial. So a couple changes from this time to today, and specifically noting that 17 north of this project area is now a principal arterial. Going to the next slide. So this is also from our comprehensive plan. This is our proposed future principal arterial, our future functional class, which includes our principal arterials, again shown in red. You can see 17 going through the 17 and 13 going through the center of the county, north to south. Highway 8 as well is a new one there, east and west across the county, and then Trunk Highway 19 on the south.
Excuse me, do we have a pointer that you can use?
Yeah. Let's see, is it the screen button? Oh yeah, oh, doesn't work on the TV, it doesn't look.
How do we get it onto the monitor?
Is there a mouse that I can, okay.
You can use that you can see.
Let's see if I do this.
There you go, thank you.
See that? Okay.
Yep. Proceed.
So, thank you, Mayor. So this purple circle, again, is our project area. Highway 17 is running north and south through the center of the county, designated as a future principal arterial. And just to talk a little bit about 17 in particular and why that is designated as a principal arterial in the future, it's pretty unique in the county, running continuously from north to south. It also has a lot of connections to Highway 169, obviously St. Francis Hospital, regional parks, a lot of entertainment venues, and really the spacing that you can just see from this visual, it makes a lot of sense. We've got obviously 35 on the east side and 169 on the west side, and this kind of goes right through the middle there. And just talk a little bit about principal arterials too. You know, they do include 35 and 169, which are kind of that expressway, freeway type of roadway facility. But you know, it also includes something like 42 and 17, which maybe are a step down from that. But still, the priority is on mobility and safety on those corridors and really making efficient trips through the county. And the last thing I'll point out on 17 in terms of kind of its unique position to serve as a principal arterial is it actually touches every one of the other principal arterials other than 35 on this map. So, you know, from 169 to 78, 42, 8, and 19, it touches all of those, which is a key component of a principal arterial. All right, so having that understanding of this as a principal arterial roadway, the corridor study was adopted in 2009, providing that long-term vision to convert this roadway to a principal arterial. It had various segments of projects to achieve that vision, and it addressed the needs for projects through 2030, and then also some recommendations to preserve right-of-way into the future beyond that. One other thing that was mentioned in the 2009 study was a supporting roadway network, which is very critical for a principal arterial because that facility is very focused on mobility and moving cars along there. There's a need to have roadways adjoining that to provide that local connectivity to destinations. And so there's obviously a lot of these yellow lines are thoughts of supporting roadway networks that could happen in that 2009 study, and we'll have more on this later in the presentation. I guess the one thing I'll mention is, let me go back to that. Jennifer Lane is one road on the west side of 17, north of 42. In 2015, there was a county construction project on 17 to upgrade that segment, and Jennifer Lane was constructed at that time, which did provide a good local connection and helped mitigate the loss of access on that as part of that project. I kind of covered this on the map, so I'll skip over this briefly, but again, this is just why 17 is important as a principal arterial. And just to mention that corridor study obviously was produced in coordination with our partners along the corridor, Shakopee, Prior Lake, the townships, and MnDOT as well. So our project area falls within segment B of the corridor study. The corridor study recommended a 4-lane facility with intersection improvements, grade separation at 14 and 82. The ADTs, which is the daily traffic that's anticipated in the study in 2030 is much higher than what we're seeing out there today. So that's where I'll talk later about how we're trying to right-size this project based on the development that has actually occurred to this point and is expected in the future. It does identify some criteria for access management and trying to get it to that future principal arterial. So a little more background, moving on from the corridor study, we have started to implement these projects over the course of the last 15 years. So they're, in particular, the red, yellow, and blue projects were completed in a span of 5 years, from 2011 to 2015, and those did upgrade 17 to a 4-lane road and manage the accesses along that as well. Yes. So jumping into that, that middle segment of those 3 projects I just identified was this 2015 project. This is the one that I mentioned that had Jennifer Lane constructed as part of it. This figure is really just to show prior to the project, the red dots are access points onto 17, and then the figure on the left, sorry, the figure on the right is post-project, the access points onto 17, so reducing that from 21 to 4, and that's again to really meet the needs of a principal arterial, which are mobility and safety, and mitigating that with the local road construction of Jennifer Lane to still have local connectivity. And this really has resulted in a safe and highly functioning principal arterial in this area. Again, this section has been converted officially to a principal arterial and functions very well today. All the folks that live to the south of here can use this roadway to get to a lot of destinations to the north. And we're trying to achieve those same goals here on this next phase to the south. All right, so that's my preamble. This brings us to the project that we're planned for 2027. And our goal with that project is to design a safe mobility corridor consistent with the corridor study and achieving that principal arterial criteria. As I mentioned, we do want to right-size this project. The traffic volumes in this segment of the roadway of the corridor are not as high as was forecasted in the corridor study, and that has been a process that we've gone through with the PMT. As Alex mentioned, you know, the city of Shakopee, city of Prior Lake, the Shakopee Metawakan Sioux are all on that project management team, and we've worked together to, starting with a visioning process and into layout development and through the public process as well, get to where we are today with the layout. And what that project entails is a 4-lane divided highway. It does include improvements at Highway 82 and Highway 14. Those are not grade separated as proposed with this project. However, as I'll show in a future slide, there's opportunity to convert those to some grade separation in the future. That's accommodated with this design. The project also includes some access management in terms of existing driveways along 17 in this area, and then also with the secondary intersections at Eaglewood, Norton, and Marcia. The project has a very large trail component to it, which is, I think, very exciting. I'll have a slide on that later on. And it does include some local road connections similar to that Jennifer Lane project to help mitigate some of the access management and continue to have that local roadway network to support the principal arterial. And again, this is planned for 2027 construction. So this is the layout. I understand it's probably a little hard to see at this scale, and we do have some slides that zoom in a bit on that. So I think I will skip ahead to the next one, which is just zooming in on the northern portion of the project. So this is Highway 17 running across the left to right of the screen. County Road 42 is just off the screen to the right there. That's the start of those ramps for that grade separated intersection. And then as we go south from 42, we have Marcia Lane and then Norton Avenue there, and then ultimately the roundabout at Highway 14. So some things just to talk to what the layout looked like prior to the open house and then what we have presented to you here today. The primary feedback that we heard from the folks who live in this area was around impacts to their access to 17. And what was proposed at that meeting had a right-in, right-out at Norton Avenue, so they could, as it implies there, that they could exit to the north and they could come in from the south. And at Marcia, we had proposed a 3/4 intersection, which allows for the left in, the right in, and the right out. It does not allow for the left out to go northbound on 17. As a result of the feedback at the meeting, we are proposing to change that Norton intersection to a 3/4 intersection to match what's at Marcia there. And so it does allow that left in, alleviates some concerns with travel times to Norton, but also with emergency response to Norton. And it also really mitigates some of the concerns that we heard from Marcia in terms of out-of-direction travel. As previously proposed, for them to go northbound on 17, they needed to take a right onto 17, go down to the roundabout, do a U-turn, and head north. In this case, they can just make that U-turn at Norton, so that cuts that a little more than in half in terms of that out-of-direction travel, down to less than a 1/4 mile.
Okay, let's hold up here
Yes.
and see if there's questions on this portion. If you could walk me through Norton, they can't come out and make a left, correct?
Correct.
So if they want to go south, they're going to go north to where to turn around?
Mr. Mayor, thank you for the question. They would turn right onto 17, and then they would do a U-turn at Marcia to go
Could you
south.
use your pointer,
I can,
please?
sorry. I'm forgetting to do that. Here's the mouse.
Your mouse, yeah.
Here we go. Okay, so if you're on Norton and you want to go southbound, you would take a right onto 17 and then do a U-turn here at Marcia to head south.
Okay, and if you wanted to, if you were coming from the north going south, you could make a left into Norton.
Correct.
And if you're coming from the south, you got a right in, and if you're coming out of Norton, you got a right out.
Correct.
Okay. Now let's go over to Marcia Drive and explain that one to us.
Yep, so pretty similar there for Marcia. If you're leaving your house and you're heading south, you can just take a right turn and head south on 17. If you're coming home from the north, you can just take a right into Marcia Lane. If you're coming home from the south on 17, you can take that left turn into Marcia Lane. If you're coming from your house and you're heading to the north, you would need to take a right turn onto 17 and do a U-turn at Norton to head north. That's a little less than a 1/4 mile out of direction travel for that. Now, the other thing that's proposed with this layout, and I might just skip a couple slides ahead so we can talk about that since it relates, is we're proposing this local road connection. So to get the bearings, this road here is the very northern portion of that Marcia neighborhood, the Wine and Acres neighborhood. This is 29th Avenue, which is currently a right-in off of 17 into that neighborhood. So we're proposing to construct a roadway from the end of that Marcia neighborhood, the north end, up to Blue Heron Trail, which connects into Wood Duck Trail and to Jennifer Lane that was constructed in the previous segment. So it would create a continuous road network from Marcia up to County Road 78. Yep. This does a couple of things. It's pretty similar travel times for them from today, from what they do today to take a left out at Marcia to take this route. It's slightly longer for them to go down to Norton and do the U-turn than it is to go this way, depending on where you live within that neighborhood, of course. You know, there's kind of a dividing line probably on what's most convenient for folks, but it does provide them alternatives and multiple points of entry and exit from the neighborhood, which I think is just a good practice. And it also provides them, there's an opportunity there if you say you have a young driver or something like that, you could take these back roads all the way up to 78. You just have to take a right turn onto 78, and then you're at the signal of 17 and 78, and then you're able to take that left turn onto 17 at a signal, which I think is would be a safe route to go as well. So it's not that one route is necessarily the right way. It probably depends on where you live in the neighborhood, but the idea is to give them multiple options. And so that is definitely, I think, very relevant to the Marcia access. Sorry, I got a little derailed from your question.
No, that's good. Questions up to this point? And what's the timeline on that local street construction, and where's the funding source?
Yep, our intent is to construct that with the project. It's possible that we have multiple lettings just because we are getting started a little later with that one, but To speak to the overall project, I think we're probably looking at a 1.5 construction seasons, maybe 2 construction seasons to do this full project. So somewhere within that timeline, we would want to construct that, that local road. We're planning to fund that local road 100% with our sales tax, the Scott County sales tax. So ultimately, it would become a city street, and so there would be, it would be owned by the city. There'd be maintenance for the city on the road long term, but the initial construction costs and the right-of-way costs the county would provide as part of our sales tax.
Okay.
Other questions on this northern segment of the project? The last thing I'll mention is the layout that was proposed at the open house had necked the 17 down to a 2-lane section through this area, and that's, again, us trying to work through that right sizing of the project. The volumes may not be quite there for the 4-lane in this area, but this is our time. We have the dollars now and the project now to get it done. That's not the primary reason I would say for this change to 4 lanes. There's a couple. One is that at the roundabouts, we're constructing these bypass lanes, which I can get into more on a future slide, but they're multi-lane roundabouts. They have 2 lanes coming out of them in each direction. So we're already building 4 lanes there. We'd have to neck it down to 2 lanes through this kind of Norton Marcia area, and then it has to go back out to 2 lanes in each direction at 42 to get your movements at those ramps. So it was kind of a small section we were left with that we were doing 2 lanes, and it's, maybe we should just knock that out. And kind of the final tipping point on that was, utilizing these U-turn maneuvers, having that extra lane there for extra room for overturning and acceleration and that kind of thing was also an added benefit of having the 4-lane section through this segment. So that was a change since the open house.
Questions? Okay.
All right, thank you. This is the southern segment of the project, so I'm just going to go back real quick. This is Highway 14 and Highway 17. Oop, wrong way. Now I'm really going to confuse everyone. Highway 14 and 17. And now this is that same 14 and 17 intersection, so this is the next segment to the south. The local road in this area is Eaglewood Lane. This is their one-way in and out from onto 17. It's proposed as a right in, right out. That's the same as we had it at the open house. We did not receive strong pushback on that at the open house. It is pretty reasonable as they're situated between the 2 roundabouts. So just to walk through those same kind of movements, if they're leaving their house and they're heading south, they can take a right out freely. If they are heading to the north, they take a right, do a U-turn at the roundabout and head north. And then similarly, when they're coming home, if they're coming home from the north, they can just take a right into the neighborhood. If they're coming home from the south, they would go up to the roundabout at 14, do a U-turn, and go in.
And that distance?
About a 1/4 mile in either way.
Okay.
And I will show another local road that we're proposing to construct with this project. What we're proposing to construct this time is the blue, and I understand this is probably a little hard to see, but this blue dashed line, this is Highway 14. This is our Highway 17 here in the bottom right corner. That Eaglewood intersection is kind of right here just off the page. And so we're proposing a new intersection on 14 that would come down here and feed into, this is Bridge Crossing, which is what Eaglewood turns into within the neighborhood. And it would provide a back exit for that neighborhood to get out to the west on 14 if they want. It also does kind of align with long-term development here to the south in Prior Lake. This goes down to 160th Street. Again, we're not proposing to build this green segment right now. We're just proposing to build the blue. But once this green is constructed, that gets you down to 160th, and you could see another phase down to Highway 12, and there's a lot of development going on down there with Prior Lake. And so having this kind of trying to establish this footprint for a local road network to the west of 17 is kind of the intent with this one, but it does serve the added benefit of another back way out for the folks in Eaglewood.
Would you be able to make a left on 14 coming out of there?
Yes, you would.
Okay. And who owns the property on both sides of that road?
So this segment here is owned by the Shakopee, Metawakan, and Sioux. So that's that portion. And then this neighbor, it's Clemenhagen is the last name of this property owner. So we are starting to reach out with all of these proposed local road connections. We are in the process of reaching out to those property owners that would be affected by this. We have not made contact with all of them at this time, so I'll be transparent about that. And I'll talk with this one in particular as well. There are two property owners, Julie Welch and then Jeff Bolt in here. And then the county does own this property here, which, you know, again, going back to that corridor study, this is one of the lines that was drawn on that map, and we did purchase this property kind of with this in mind a number of years ago. So two property owners on this one, and on this one, there's mainly one, there is probably some impact to this smaller property here as well.
And you're building that with sales tax dollars as well?
Correct.
Right away, Mid-Waukon gonna donate right away?
That's the hope. We're working with them on it. They're definitely part of the conversation. Other questions?
Continue.
So I think that's kind of the layout. I'll bump quick back to the full view just to show south of 82, you know, the project kind of tapers down to 160th. That's kind of our tie-in point. Those are those storage sheds that the SMSE has constructed, if you're familiar with that as a landmark. So that's the kind of the extent of the project at this time. Again, the corridor study discusses this going further to the south. We are looking at putting a roundabout at Highway 17 and Highway 12 to the south of here in the same timing as this project that's in Prior Lake and Spring Lake Township. Sorry?
12 or 13?
12. Highway 17 and Highway 12. And then MnDOT has proposed a project, or they're in the process of scoping a project at Highway 17, Highway 13, Highway 282, kind of that funky intersection there. They're proposing, it sounds like, likely a roundabout in the 2029, 2030 timeframe. So those are kind of some upcoming projects to the south of here. All right. Pass through these exhibits. So you've probably heard this from Alex, maybe at his previous presentation, but just to touch on it quickly with the roundabout design at the two intersections. What we are proposing is on the left to be constructed now. It's a roundabout with a bypass lane, taking advantage of the three-leg orientation of these intersections affords us the opportunity to have a bypass lane in one direction at each of these the intersections. So here at 82, that is in the southbound direction. If you're going straight on 17, you can just bypass the roundabout entirely. Otherwise, you go on the interior lane and you make your maneuver as you would. So that's that. And then on the right is shown kind of the future vision and how we could achieve that, hopefully with minimal cost in the future, and that we could build one bridge. So we've already got the southbound bypass constructed. Now we need to bypass that northbound so that they can stay out of the intersection. And so we would build a bridge to take the northbound movement up and over the roundabout so that they can continue, without having to navigate an intersection. And if you're trying to turn onto 82, you would go into the roundabout still as kind of almost like an interchange ramp junction. So we think this is a good way to right-size the project, build what's needed now, but also kind of set us up for the future if and when the traffic out there dictates that. This is just the same exhibit at 14. And again, here what we're constructing today has this northbound bypass lane, so you can entirely bypass the intersection going northbound, or you can enter the roundabout if you're trying to interact with Highway 14. And similarly, we would build a bridge in the future to grade separate the southbound movement. Sorry. Okay. I think, I've got one slide on this, but I think this is a really important topic as well with the project is the trails that are going to be constructed. I'm going to focus on the figure on the right, which is what's being constructed with the project. The dark blue lines, or black they look like on the screen, are the trails being constructed with the project. It's along 82, both sides of 17, north of 82. We are constructing this gap from 17 and then along the south side of 42, which is a current gap in the system. And we are proposing a pedestrian underpass at crossing 17 at 14. The county has a project programmed within the next 5 years to construct the next phase of our Merriam Junction Trail, which is under construction right now, but the continuance of that would be along Highway 14, all the way from 169 over here to 17. And so kind of with this project and that project in tandem, you can go all the way from down 82, you can go to Murphy-Hanrahan, and then you can take that trail all the way over to downtown Carver via the Merriam Junction Trail and the Big Woods Trail. So I think this is a big improvement for the folks that live in the immediate area, just in terms of having trails outside of their house on 17 compared to being on the shoulder. These are going to be quite a ways away from the roadway. They'll be pretty nice facilities to bike on. They'll, for the most part, be 10-foot trails within the project area, as the regional trails will be. So good improvement to the immediate area, but also fills some pretty critical gaps for us in our larger regional trail network. Project timeline, we're kind of here at the crux of preliminary design and final design. That's what we would like to, get approval from the city, is that you're kind of on board with our concept and that we should move ahead with final design and right-of-way acquisition. We're looking to construct this beginning in 2027. As I mentioned, I expect that construction to continue into 2028. So that's the timeline. And then my final slide here is just on the cost participation. So this is a county transportation sales tax funded project. The county funding responsibilities will be all of the county highway construction as well as the right-of-way. That is different than our typical cost participation policy because it is a sales tax. So the city would typically have a share of that, but with it being a sales tax project, that is 100% county. We will also, as I mentioned, fund the local road connections and the right-of-way needed for those, and then kind of jump into the city bucket here with the trails. Per the cost participation policy, the city would typically be responsible for 50% of the trails. Those would be normally an 8-foot trail, so a lot of the trails in this project are 10 feet since they're part of a regional trail system. So essentially that comes down to a 60-40 split on the trails is what we're proposing for this project. The county would pay 60% and the city would pay 40%. You're paying for 4 feet of that trail, we're paying for 60.
Is that the actual trail cost or land acquisition also?
Trail cost.
Okay.
Yep. Not right away. We're back up to the county bucket. The design and construction and admin will be county responsibility. I should have mentioned when I was on the trails, the pedestrian tunnel. We have that one pedestrian tunnel proposed on crossing 17 at 14, so that would fall into that 60-40 cost share, similarly with the trails. And then going down to the city bucket, like I mentioned, those local roads that would be constructed would ultimately become city streets and would fall into the city's ownership and maintenance. And we just have a bullet there at the end that, again, we're looking for some municipal consent here at the layout approval stage to move forward. That is what I have. I've got my boss's contact info on here, but certainly Alex has mine as well as Nate, our project manager, so we'd be happy to answer questions at any time, but for the moment, I will stand for questions. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Questions? Now would be the time to really get into the details.
Oh, I will leave that for you, but I'll start with a question.
Go ahead.
No, actually more of a comment, but I guess the question could be, how much extra time did you put into this project? Because when we first saw this, there were some concerns. And first of all, I want to say I appreciate all the work you have done, yep, and the county has done. The homeowners were concerned, and I think this is a balance. And with the added road construction for the interior roads, I guess I'll call them, I think it's a better balance. So I appreciate what you've done with it.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor and Councilmember.
Anybody else? Councilor Contreras?
Half comment, half concern question. So I did get a question was the homeowners who are still looking at it, will you guys bring it back to them or is this the final place you're bringing it?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor and Councilmember. That I had intended to mention that. So we had the open house a couple months ago, and we had a follow-up meeting with the folks on Norton last week to kind of present that left in to them. That was, I would say, very well received. That was one of the more positive public meetings that I've been a part of, honestly. So that was good, and now we are intending to have we need to have another meeting with Marcia as well to kind of communicate these changes. But we do see that with that local road, we also are engaging the two property owners that it affects, but it also affects the neighborhood to the north, the folks on Blue Heron Court, on Wood Duck. There's not a lot of additional traffic probably generated there, but there's some additional traffic, especially for the folks that are on a cul-de-sac right now, and that would change. So we have a need to engage with everyone from the Marcia neighborhood, the two property owners, and then the neighborhood to the north. And I see that as I think we could do that as one meeting, kind of to talk about that local road connection. So that's a next step for us. And then we will be participating in public engagement for the 17 and 12 project as well that I mentioned that's down in Prior Lake. But those are kind of our next steps from a public engagement process.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. I have a flurry, so I
Please.
waited until last. One resident in Norton Drive had a concern with the original version of pulling a boat coming out of Norton, making a right, and now going down to Marcia and making a U-turn to go south.
Yep.
And it's really hard to gauge the size on this screen with what you've showed us.
Right.
Will that movement be possible?
Yeah, it's definitely going to, thank you for the question, Mayor. It's definitely going to depend on exactly what their boat is, and we've run some turning templates for various configurations. The best thing that I would say is, depending on the frequency.
I would say a standard size boat or maybe a utility trailer behind a pickup truck.
Right, yeah, we do have the two through lanes for so that's a little extra wide, and then we have a good sized shoulder. So I think it accommodates a lot of movements. We definitely have seen that it accommodates a school bus. I think, again, depending on the frequency that somebody's pulling it, I would probably just recommend that they take another route around. Not that it doesn't accommodate it, but just from a safety standpoint, doing that U-turn, I would recommend that if somebody's on Norton, that they go up to 42 and then route down Stemmer Ridge to 82, or again, depending on where they're exactly headed and how frequently they make that maneuver. But that's kind of the best I can answer that question.
But you mentioned there's 2 lanes and a shoulder, which should be
Correct.
adequate enough in my thoughts.
I agree. Sometimes our software that we use to emulate these things is a little overly conservative, is what I'll say. So it can accommodate a school bus for sure, by a long margin. So.
And I
You
assume
should have said fire truck.
I assume a fire truck too then.
Fire truck, yeah, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then, looking at the trail plan, you show regional trails and local trails, and the local trails going down to 12 into Prior Lake territory, and does Prior Lake have a plan to pick up on that trail?
That I don't know. Nate, do you have any other? I don't know. I can look into that for sure.
Okay, and I, just looking at this, it shows the regional trail going down Howard Lake and down 150th 14, and I got to tell you, just my glancing is the blue lines seem to be more regional and the green lines seem to be more local. But that's just the way I'm looking at it. Mm-hmm. Normally, a local trails will keep you kind of close and regional will take you farther out.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And I'm looking at this, and the green is keeping you kind of close, and the blue is taking you farther out into other jurisdictions.
I think there's a little bit of both. Yeah.
It's
really
deceiving because it's not showing you where they connect to, the regional trails.
Right. I think a bigger picture view of that is good. And ultimately, it's this area ties into our Big Woods Trail, which is a large trail loop, and then it ties into that Merriam Junction Trail that I mentioned. Those are the 2 regional trails.
But
I agree, this figure isn't necessarily.
The bigger point I'm making is if the trail going down past 282 to 12 doesn't connect with nothing, we don't want to send people down to a dead end.
Got it.
So we need to take a good look at that. Maybe now is not the right time for that.
Yep.
Until we're coordinated with Prior Lake so that actually connects.
Makes sense.
And then just a comment, overall comment. I know that the county with the principal arterial is trying to move traffic in a safe manner. I get it. We all get in our cars and we have somewhere to be in 15 minutes and it's 10 miles away and we get on the B line and try to get there with uninterrupted travel. So I totally get that part. But on the same token, we're battling with these podges of houses, how do we have local accesses to? And that was really the big concern at the time. So I think some of that has been addressed pretty well. Appreciate that. Obviously, you must have listened to a lot of comments at that open house. My last question would just be generic to our staff, engineering and anybody else of working with Scott County on this particular plan. Any thoughts and questions that you might have that we're not thinking of at the moment? Mr. Reynolds, you want to lead us off, or does our engineer want to comment?
I think that city staff certainly appreciates the hard work that the county has done in regard to this plan. I think there were significant concerns from staff, from residents with the initial plan. We've talked about it internally. We appreciate the hard work, and this is something certainly from a staff perspective that we can support.
Okay. Anything to add from our city engineer, Mr. Jordan?
No, Mayor and Council. I think City Administrator Reynolds spoke well for us. Scott County's been an excellent partner to listen to the feedback that's been shared not only from council, from the residents, and from our city engineering staff, and we've worked together to come up with a plan that I think we all can support.
Okay. All right. Any other questions from council of any staff members? Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you for your time tonight.
Need anything officially out of us?
No, sir, this will come back to you later this year for your ultimate local approval.
All righty. Thank you, sir.
Talk about the trail size again.
Yeah.
Work them over a little bit. Why do they need 10 feet?
Thanks, County. Really appreciate you guys' work.
Thank you.
Item number 9, liaison administration reports. Mr. Lara, are you first?
Sure, I can go. So attended the League of Minnesota Cities Conference at the end of June for the first time. Learned a lot. It was nice to just sit and be around other cities and hear like what are their problems and what are their residents talking about, and then it also makes you appreciate the things we have a lot. So yeah, it was a really good experience. So looking forward to hopefully getting more involved with the league themselves and then also attending next year. So
You can sign up online, create a password and all that stuff, and you can go in and you can get all kinds of educational data, and you can do it right from the comfort of your living room if you like, on your Zoom thing and all that.
yeah, it was really good information. So
So
good
I would
experience.
encourage that, because as a member, we pay for that service and it's free of charge. So
That's all I have.
thank you. Counselor Contreras?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have an actual liaison report, but I did also attend the Minnesota League conferences, and that very educational. Yeah,
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Whiting?
Yeah, kind of a quiet summer a little bit. MBTA is planning a tour of the amphitheater, and I want to thank staff for working with them. We're going to bring out one of those new carriage coaches that we're going to be traveling around Canterbury and take our board through with some other members, some other group through the amphitheater tours. So it was great to coordinate with staff, so I appreciate that.
Very good. Mr. Delaney?
Well, it seems like we had a long time since the last meeting. As far as Shakopee utility updates, AMI is getting closer to finishing up for our city, which is good. I think they had 482 remaining mixture of water and electric meters to install. They're literally going door to door in some cases to get residents who haven't responded in a while to kind of let them know that we're here. A lot of times they're basically just come on in and get it done since you knocked on the door and you're here with the equipment. So get it done. Went to legislative updates. I think I went to at least 3 of these this past month. First is the MMUA. A lot of great information. The one takeaway I think is the EV. I think there's the fees going from $75 per year to $200 per year, and they're adding a 5-cent per kilowatt charge. So if you're, it's trying to mimic the gas tax. So you know that's
Right.
coming. But there's a whole lot of other good stuff. 169 Coalition. We're returning back to the original dues. I think just after COVID, they dropped the dues to half, and we need to return, so letting all the organizations' membership know that that'll happen next year. They're looking for a new fiduciary, if I got that right, fiduciary agent. The current one is retiring, and they're trying to see if the city wants to take that on. Let's see.
Are they looking for a city to take that on?
Correct.
And are you asking if our city is interested in taking that on?
Oh, well, each of the members are going to go back and ask their city if they want to take that on.
I see.
So, yeah, I haven't had that discussion yet, so.
Okay.
Who?
A fiduciary agent, basically they're
No, for what organization?
169
Oh,
Coalition.
okay.
You're welcome to do that if you want.
No, I'm good.
Let's see. Attended the SWCTC as a Transportation 169 corridor member, and they're doing a lot of great stuff over there. I love what they're doing with the bees. I didn't bring that here, but they're putting some more habitats over by the Arboretum, and I thought that was really exciting as part of one of their construction activities, so I thought that was pretty cool. I'm a bee fan, if you don't know that, by the way. Legislative updates. Representative Bakeberg, Senator Pratt had their legislative updates this past week. I think I dropped off some literature in case you want to take a look at that. There was a meet and greet, or at least a presentation from a former councilmember, Winford Russell from Brooklyn Park. While it was a great discussion, got a chance to meet one of our current Met council members, Chai Lee. Good discussion with him and some other council members, so that was pretty good. And that's all the excitement.
Very good. A lot of projects going down South 169, Jordan, prior to Jordan, and some more accidents. So obviously them safety issues are still there. That's why the projects are happening. Right. My report, June 18th, I went to the Met Council meeting in Chaska, talked with both Chair Zell and our Commissioner, Deb Barber, and also met a northern part council member, Met council member. June 24th was the Shakopee, Metawakan, Sioux Community's Dakota Prairie grand opening and ribbon cutting for their new recycle center on 41, just across the tracks. State-of-the-art facility. It's like 75% of Minnesota's recyclable is their capacity. So that's pretty amazing, actually. June 26th was Jim Davis's in our inspection department retirement. Came down and told him thank you for all the decades of service to Shakopee. July 7th, I attended the legislative update. July 10th, county meeting with staff, Sand Venture tour for the county folks that were in attendance, and old stories about from way back when from some of those folks. That was kind of cool. June 15th, today, was NP Direct ribbon cutting down on 120 Home Street. Different kind of model, kind of a cool model. Nurse practitioners along with other services right downtown. That's going to be, it's kind of a cool model. It almost reminds me of going back to when they had the standalone doctor's offices for the little things, you know. They can actually practice medicine. They're between a registered nurse and a full-fledged doctor. So they can do the...
Where's that located?
120 Home Street.
Okay.
That would have been the old Paul's Bike Shop in that neck of the woods there. So, Mr. Reynolds, you have a report?
Nothing from me, sir.
Very good. Any other staff member reports that you want? Nope. Good. City bill list? Questions on the bill list?
No questions.
9B, news and announcements. Who's got the news and the announcements? We have, we'll take the first one.
It is time to register for Night to Unite. This is an annual summer tradition that we as a council like to attend with our police and fire department. We like to go party hop, if you may. It's whether it's a backyard barbecue, block party, or a simple chat in your front yard. The goal is to bring people together, strengthen our community bonds. Please register your party at shakopeemn.gov Night to Unite between or you have until the 21st of July. You can request a visit from police officers, firefighters, and other city representatives.
And I think that happens August 5th, correct?
August 5th, yep.
Okay. Councilor Contreras?
Yep, Huber Park Performance Series. The Huber Park Performance, they include free music and entertainment Thursdays, June through August at Huber Park. The events run from 7 to 9 p.m. No registration is required. Bring a chair or a blanket to sit on.
Salsa del Sol this Thursday.
Thursday, yep.
Bring it
Very
on.
good. Mr. Whiting?
All right, Rhythm on the Rails concert series takes place Wednesdays from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. downtown Shakopee. Rhythm on the Rails is a free 6-week concert series running from June 18th through the first week in August. Who's playing this week? Do we know?
It is the,
Def Leppard Tribute Band, and I don't remember what their name is.
Okay, something. Well, I guess that's
It's
where
Def-
we're going to be on Wednesday.
but it's not Leopard. It's Deaf, I can't remember either. But that's going to be a good
We'll
one,
find
too.
out. All right.
They're all good. Mr. Delaney?
Okay, annual street project reminder. Information on annual street projects such as seal coating and pavement rejuvenation can be found on the city's website at www.engageshakopeemen.gov.
Thank you. All great things happening, and I will just say that the seal coating and pavement work is only going to show you Shakopee. There's county, state, feds, and everybody else doing projects all over the state of Minnesota. You can't go anywhere without seeing it, but we'll show you where Shakopees are.
Yep.
All right?
Nobody talks to each other.
Item number 10, any other business?
I'll go
Laura?
first. I would like to submit for future discussion that the Marystown Dog Park be renamed in honor of the Melissa and Doug Hortman family. Yes, I'd like to submit that for future discussion,
Is
for
there,
for that possibility.
That's a great
There is a
idea.
process.
Yeah, we have a policy on that, and I'll have to take a look at that and have to submit the application with the justification for it as well.
Sure.
it would probably be easier, in my opinion, if it was somebody from our area. I get what you're saying, though.
It was, I should say, let me clarify. It was, or I was approached and petitioned to bring that up. So I could go back to that person, and it's not once I know the steps and process.
Yeah, I don't think it would be eligible in our current policy. Now, council can always change that, but I'll pull the policy tomorrow morning and I'll send something out to everyone so you can take a look.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other items, Mr. Delaney?
So I know we're going through the kind of pay studies, and how often does staff get evaluated? That's one of the questions I had. Is that like a yearly evaluation, or?
And I guess would that be all of our staff, our administrative staff, our department heads?
You know, I didn't know if we had that answer. I mean, outside of here, I know my current employer, I get evaluated every 12 months.
Right?
We get one review. When was the last time we reviewed you?
Last year, and we're actually currently working on that right now. We're trying something different this time around, and we'll get that to you as soon as we have it nailed down.
Okay.
And then for department heads, they're reviewed by administration?
Correct.
And that is done on what kind of a time period?
That's actually done through our process, which is also a yearly process.
Okay. And then department heads do their department
Correct.
employees? And what is that? Is that a yearly or?
That's also a yearly.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, what is the name of our program?
NeoGov.
NeoGov. It's all automated through our NeoGov program, and so quite literally, we'll have dates that pop up on when we have to achieve things as leadership, and then we plug it in.
And then we set the scale as far as the lower employees, as far as the union, during the union negotiations, that they hit the scales as far as their rates, right? And then it comes down
Yeah,
to,
we do the steps and all
the
that
COLA
stuff, but
at
the
that
actual
point, but the
performance
performance
part is done by
Yeah.
their supervisor, their department.
Performance and
head.
compensation are two different things. Performance is something that's done with the staff level compensation. We are done with the compensation program or study. We're having some issues with our equity report, and actually it won't even be by this. It'll be once the fire department has finalized their unionization activities. We're very concerned that it's going to throw us out of compliance with the state's equity process, which is interesting because they have designated certain jobs as female jobs and certain jobs as male jobs, which I think is exceptionally misogynistic, but what do I know? And we will get punished if those female jobs are paid less than the male jobs. And so we are struggling with that and have been working with the state. And, you know, obviously nothing will move forward until we've got that worked out.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other business?
No.
We can either have a motion to adjourn
I'll make
or
a motion
consider
to
play
adjourn
cards for the
until
rest of the day.
August 6th. That's the day after the Night to Unite. It's a Wednesday, 2025 at 7 p.m.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Lara? Yes. Discussion on the motion? Discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We are adjourned.